And so it is we welcome Steve Krejcik, our new director of the Coptic Fellowship, uh, handing the torch, or receiving the torch from our director, John Davis, and our hearts wide open with his recent passing. Steve, he has served as a Coptic board member for a number of years, Coptic minister, and a healer. He's the founder of the Grey Wolf Therapies and has helped thousands of people clear emotional and energetic roadblocks using the techniques of the Quero shamans of Peru. He has published numerous articles of self-empowerment and spiritual growth. And Steve believes that one's highest goal in life is to know yourself, and that we measure our spiritual progress by the level of inner peace, joy, and love that we feel and do express. It's the theme of Tibetan. I didn't write down his topic. I know it's with Tibetan.
Energy balancing.
Thank you, Steve. I had all my notes put together except for that. So we do welcome that. There will not be a Coptic moment tonight unless Steve chooses to sprinkle one in. And so let's welcome Steve Krejcik and his offering for this evening. Blessings, Steve.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Michael. And before I get started, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that has stepped up to help and your donations to the center since the passing of John. And it's just overwhelming support and everything. It just really feels good. I have some big shoes to fill here. I do have big feet, but I don't know. John's a tough act to follow, right? So with all of your support, we're working on a business plan right now so that the Coptic Center will remain, we'll be able to remain together for hundreds of years into the future. And we'll be rolling that out. And as we do more, and we'll also be asking all of your input in the near future and over the next couple months as we put a plan together and all. So it's exciting stuff. Again, thank you for everyone that is stepping forward. And if anybody is interested, to help spread the word and help the world, you can always reach out to me or to Brenda at info@the-Coptic Center. And so once again, thank you. And I hope I will, be able to do some good for the organization and for the world. So anyway, with that, let me share my screen. While I do have shaman training, today we're going to talk about something that's not really related to shamans, but to Tibet. This is an energy balancing technique that comes from Tibet. And I learned this, actually, it was just about 40 years ago today. And I've been using this on myself for at least once a week, sometimes several times a week. And the neat thing about this is how many have had those days where you just can't meditate, right? The world has got you. You're lost in a tailspin somewhere, and you just can't get down into that place of peace. Your mind is yakking away, blah, 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 So this is a kind of a physical technique that you can do to override that, to help you to relax. So it's very valuable, and this is going to be a workshop. And so we'll actually be doing this. We can do it on ourselves, and I have some slides to show you how all to do that. I'll show you how it works, and then we'll give you a few minutes to practice it on yourself, and then we'll talk about it and answer questions and things like that. But it's a very powerful technique, and the idea of this technique is that when we are in balance, the body can heal itself. The body is like a whole pharmacy inside. It can produce any type of drug or whatever we need to be in perfect balance and harmony. And so when we look at it, so I think a good place to start is the beginning, right? So we're all made from the same earth dust, right? The Bible says we come from dust, and to dust we shall return. But spirit or universe or God or whatever you want to call it somehow knows how to take that dust and make this into a heart, and make this into lungs, and this into legs, and make this dust into a brain. And so there's this wonderful unseen force which produces this beautiful body. And then the child is born. And you ever look at a newborn child, they're just in perfect flow with spirit. They're not really in touch with the material world yet. They're like, sometimes if you think about, hear about these, Middle Eastern masters that are so into the bliss of life that they don't even feed themselves. They need someone to take care of themselves and bring them food, or they won't eat. And a newborn child is a lot like that. Someone has to take care of it. It's just stuck there in the joy. And if it needs something, it lets you know. It doesn't hide it, right? Everybody knows what a child with the dirty diaper sounds like. It lets you know that there's something wrong. So it's been perfect with the flow of spirit. But then society comes in and starts to tell us how we should act. It tells us that, I'm sure a lot of us on this call, children should be seen and not heard. Stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about. Or, women should be in the kitchen and men should be manly and be out there playing sports, and men shouldn't cry. And so all of these rules of society that we're taught through our lives teach us, they block that flow of spirit that we start with. And so we kind of get stuck in this, and we lose that touch with spirit. So what happens is society is like, they teach us that don't feel these emotions or don't express those emotions. It's not, look at how so many things are taboo or bad. Natural things that are natural parts of the body, natural things. Society says, oh, you can't talk about that. That's taboo, or this or that. So we end up like stuffing these emotions down, and they become unexplored emotions. And eventually they almost develop a mind of their own. Well, they do develop a mind of their own. Eckhart Tolle calls it the pain body. Freud might have called it the ego. And these things kind of take over our lives, and they run our lives for us. And ultimately, they're loud and they're obnoxious and they're in our minds, right? And who has troubles silencing their mind because it's so busy thinking? All that thinking that's going on in our mind is actually these unexplored emotions and beliefs and things that we've just stacked up inside of ourselves through the years. And what they do is they cover up our ability to experience that joy and that peaceful feeling of the flow of spirit. And then what happens after years, we don't even know what that flow of spirit feels like anymore. All we know is that thinking mind and what we see before us and paying the bills and eating and where our next meal is coming from. And don't forget to act proper, because, that's the way you were raised. You have to act a certain way, right or wrong. So we had to throw a little of Hamid Bey in here. Here's our Coptic moment right there, Michael. So in Hamid Bey, in lesson 280 of the lectures of Hamid Bey, which we actually talked about this for those that were on last Tuesday's class, he says, heaven is a degree of consciousness within ourselves, which is realized or unrealized according to our reactions to our experiences. It's realized or unrealized according to our reactions to our experiences. Therefore, a case of our own choosing. If reactions to our experiences are ignored, resulting in a life of inharmony and disease, we experience the opposite state of consciousness and dwell in what is called hell. So, here Hamid Bey says that these things are our reactions to our experiences are choice. But in many ways, it's really not a choice for us, because they just happen, right? We've always been this way and we don't know any other way. So to work on these experiences, or to go back and to work on these experiences, is kind of difficult. And that's one of the things that these Tibetan, this energy balance does, is it helps us to come into balance. And we'll talk about that more in a minute. A Course in Miracles, lesson 69 says, my grievances hide the light of the world in me. Once again, what are your grievances? these are all the things that we've stuffed down inside of us throughout our lives. And until they control us, it's like like we've got this entity inside of us, like, like a space movie or a science fiction movie that's just controlling us. This is our pain body. This is our ego. This is what controls us. This is what is always thinking in the back of our head, blah, blah, blah. Don't forget to do this. Don't forget to do that. So based on all of this, healing is changing our point of view, which then allows us to experience of joy, the experience of joy and peace of spirit flowing through us. Healing is changing our point of view. So this is where we can come in and we can look at these experiences that we've had in our life. We can become aware of our experiences and change that. Now, Eckhart Tolle says that just being aware of something going on inside of you is 95% of the healing. We all know these people who are obnoxious and they don't even know they're obnoxious, right? They blame everything on everybody else. They're not even aware of it. But just to become aware that we are also that obnoxious person in some ways, and we are causing our life and our self-fulfilling prophecy, if you will, can help us with that. So with the Tibetan energy balancing, what this will do is it can bring us into balance. And when we're in a balanced state, we can see things differently. We can change our point of view of the world when we become in balance. When you think about how we've all had those wonderful vacations. Maybe you went to Hawaii for a couple of weeks or somewhere, and you come home, and that first day back from vacation, you are just like flying high. Everything is perfect. The world is beautiful. And then you go back to work on Monday. And by Tuesday, you're starting to feel that stress. You're starting to slip back into the old routine. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you don't even know you've been on vacation. So by bringing this energy balancing can do this to bring you to that place where you feel like you've been on that vacation. And in doing this, when nothing else works, the diet, meditation, and exercise are the most important things that we can do to stay in balance. But this is another method that we can use on ourselves to help us to stay in balance. So this is a body, and when you're in balance, the universe conspires in your favor and life is good. And your energy field is like this egg around you. And you can even feel it sometimes. But when you're out of balance, your energy field kind of goes sideways like this. And so maybe I'll just take a moment right now and just kind of gently put your hands out until you can feel a little resistance, almost like you're pushing against a bubble. And feel where your energy is balanced or not. See, is it, I notice mine is coming out a little bit more to the right today, and it's a little bit closer on the left side. Out on the right side, it's over here. On the left side, it's like right here. So mine is kind of going, like this to me. Can you feel that? Just close your eyes. It'll feel just like you're hitting a gentle resistance, almost like a bubble. Can you feel that a little bit? Okay, so this is your body in an out of balance condition. You'll feel that, and another symptom of an out of balance condition is one leg will be shorter than the other. So you could like lie down and lay down on your back and have someone pull your legs gently, and you'll see that one leg, is actually a little longer than the other leg. So think about that. If one leg is longer than the other and you're walking around, what's that going to do to your back? What's it going to do to your hips? You're going to have a sore back. It'll just perpetuate and bring you further out of balance. So bringing your body into balance will actually put both of your legs at the same length, and it's just part of it because your body comes into balance. Now, when we're doing this exercise, since this is a workshop, we all get to do something. You might feel like your body needs to wiggle, like maybe that shoulder needs to go up, or maybe something needs to happen. You might feel your back crack a little bit. So feel free to wiggle around to help your body come back into balance. Another thing that's important is comfort. You must be sitting comfortably or lying down comfortably. Like if I wake up in the middle of the night sometimes and I can't go back to sleep, if I do an energy balancing on myself, I'll fall right back to sleep. So if you have one of those middle of the night wake ups, this can help you to go back to sleep too. But anyway, it's important that you're comfortable when you're doing this. So we have the lovely Carol Merrill model here. And so what I've done is I put this blue stripe down the middle, which represents my spine. This dot right here is the belly button as we go down. And then these other dots are where you will put your hands. Okay, and the subsequent slide will show you the next step further. So if everybody just kind of feel around, I mean, it's pretty easy to find where your belly button is. You know, when I was younger, my belly button used to be an outie, but then my stomach became an outie and my belly button became an innie. So now I have an innie. So, you know, this process can take, depending on how much time you have, it could take as long as 45 minutes. If you're in a hurry or you maybe just want to do one side, you can do it in 10, 15 minutes. You can do it as long as or as short as you want. But so anyway, let's go to the next slide. So what you do with your hand is you put your hand together so that the pad of your thumbs touches your three fingers. So you're kind of like making it's like a tunnel so that energy can flow through that tunnel. Okay. Your feet should not be crossed. You want your feet separated. I'm not sure why, but when you do cross them, we're trying to balance the energy from the right to the left of your body. So we don't want feet crossed at this point. So next, you're going to take your left hand, and your left hand is going to go across your spine, and it's going to touch your stomach on the right side of your spine, 3 fingers below. You can kind of see there I have 3 fingers. So you want to go 3 fingers below your belly button. And I forget what that's called. It's not the chakra. It's I think in Tai Chi, what do they call it? The energy point, Daxian or something like that. It's that energy point there. So you want to be 3 fingers below, and then just put your left hand across and just kind of hold it there. And remember, your pads of your fingers can be touching or slightly separated. And you put your left hand there. And then you're going to put your right hand comes over on top of the left hand, and it's just across the spine. Okay. So this is the basic fundamental positioning of this. So the next step is your hands are going to function like wires. And so you've got too much energy, as we saw in that picture. Maybe you've got too much energy on the right side of your body or too much energy on the left side of your body. So you're going to imagine a flow up one arm, through your heart, and down the other arm, and flowing through your body. So just for a moment now, just take a moment, take a few deep breaths, and see that tunnel of light flowing from your left hand to your right hand. It might flow in one direction, it might flow in the other. This is not your usual left to right flow. It could flow in either direction, from your left to right or your right to left, depending on what your body needs. So you just kind of open up that channel and take a few deep breaths. And just allow that flow. And then we'll come back to this in a moment, but keep your hands there and just kind of see if you can feel some flow. And then after a few seconds of flow, you would next move your right hand is going to move up a little bit. So the idea is your right hand is going to move up the left side of your spine. See this next one, it moves up a little higher. Each time it's just going to move up to the next just a little bit higher. And you're going to keep on going all the way up until it comes to your neck, come into your neck. And then when you're done with that, then you switch hands. Your right hand crosses over to your left side on the bottom, 3 fingers below your belly button. And your left hand then moves up your spine. Okay, so at this point, I'll take a pause for questions. You can unmute yourself and ask a question if anyone has a question about how to do this. Everybody got it? Oh, go ahead, Michael.
I think I'm good. Does pressure make a difference on your abdomen, on your throat, or anything like that as you go up and down?
No, it doesn't. You just need to be touching. And the other thing I like to do sometimes is I like to do the lower one actually touching my skin. So I'll go under my shirt. And, then you can do it on your skin. It's good. In this case, we can do it over the shirt. We don't want anybody taking their shirts off in the class here. Another question, Nancy, did you have a question? Okay. Anyone else? Okay, so now let's talk a little bit more about it before we actually go and we try it. Okay, so the years that I've been doing this and having people share with this, the flow is going to feel different to everyone. For some people, it's going to feel warmth, like warmth flowing through your hand. For some people, it feels like cool flowing through your hand. Some people, it might feel like a breeze, and you might not feel anything. So it doesn't matter. If you do it, it will work. And so just allow it. And whatever happens to happen, because we all experience the energy flow differently from our bodies. The other thing to think about is when you're down near the bottom with your hand that's moving up the spine, move that a little bit more there. As the hand is moving up the spine, near the bottom, you're going to have more dense energies. And so those energies are going to take a little bit longer to start flowing near the bottom. As you get near the top, like up here around the heart and into the neck, you'll find that the flow will start very quickly. But the idea is to start with the denser energies, and you might not even feel flow at the denser energies, but that's okay. Just move stay at one spot about a minute, breathing deeply, and then just move up to the next if you don't feel anything. But there will be flow. And again, remember the flow flowing through you like your hands are wires that are balancing an electrical charge that's out of balance in your body. All right. So you can do this on another person. In fact, that's usually the way I was taught to do it. You could have them lay on their back, lay on their stomach, or they could sit if it's uncomfortable to lay. And then you would kind of go sideways and do work up their back, or if they're laying down, you would just put one hand across their spine and then the other hand would move up the spine on that side. Sometimes if you're doing this, they might feel some discomfort because the energy is flowing. You don't want to blast them, right? The idea is just to get the flow moving and then move on, because if you're really charged and you're really working and they're really blocked, the idea is not the blast. You could also visualize, if you want to visualize flames coming out of your hand, or what I used to do sometimes, I visualized the pyramid on top of my hand, and that was the energy was flowing into the person. If you can do little visualizations like that to help it flow. One time when I was, we were doing this for a group of folks, and I was working on a lady. She had pulled a muscle in her back, one of the muscles that came to the rib to the back. And as I was working on her, the muscle actually came back together. So she felt that muscle pull back together and heal itself. And it wasn't me doing it. It was her body naturally healing as it came back into balance. So, you could have stuff like that happen. But again, The idea is not to blast a person with as much energy as you can, just to get it to flow, then move to the next area. So now we start with the practice. Are there any questions before we get going? Okay, so I'll kind of walk you through it again. You can take your left hand, move it across to the right side of your spine, about 3 fingers below your belly button. You can, like I said, I like to go under the shirt because when you're on the skin, you can feel it a little bit better. You might want to, as you're doing it, you can move that lower hand because that's your stationary hand. You can move it around a little bit until you find the right spot. Sometimes I have to do that. I've kind of got to the point where I know right where it is, but you might want to move it around if you're not feeling the flow. Then the right hand comes across, not like in the diagram, that's as you're moving further up, but right above the left hand, cross over, feet uncrossed, and just go ahead and take a few moments. And this is the workshop part, so we're going to take about 5 or 10 minutes, maybe 15, and just let you do the flow. So now just go ahead and actually do this. And if you have any questions, just you can unmute yourself and speak while the others continue to work. We're perfectly okay. Remember, focus on your breath. If you like, you can kind of do the Darth Vader breath a little bit, to like, that can help the energy flow a little bit more. You can say a prayer, but just focus on the breath and see that energy flowing through your hands one way or the other. Sometimes it'll change directions. Not really thinking, but just focusing on the breath and the flow of the energy. That's all you need to do.
No, that doesn't help. I don't know what they're doing. I wasn't here for that part. It might change.
And when you feel the flow starting, move up just to the next spot. So you're pretty much sliding your hand up, stopping at each point. Focusing on the breath. Relaxing. Staying at each point long enough for the feel the flow, either in your hands or your body. And if you don't feel the flow, that's okay. Know it's working. And after maybe a minute or so, move to the next spot. And as I mentioned, the flow will come easier as you move up into the finer energies of your body. If you feel like shifting your spine, like I got up around the solar plexus area and my back just wanted to wiggle and crack into place. feeling the flow, focusing on the breath, becoming more and more relaxed with every breath. And when you get up into the neck, and put your right hand into the anchor spot, 3 fingers below your belly button across the left side. And then your left hand crosses over just above the right and start the flow on the other side. Focusing on the breath. You can say a prayer, a mantra, whatever works. Or just focus on your breath. Noticing how the lower parts of your spine, of your area, they're just a little bit more sluggish in the flow, but that's okay because it's still flowing. It's good to open those energy flows of those lower parts of your being. They've been blocked off for a long time. Sometimes you might want to wiggle the lower hand to make sure you've got the right spot. You'll feel it. It's like you'll feel the flow start when you get that right connection. It's just one of those things you just know you're there. And if you haven't reached that know you're there spot, just put it 3 fingers below and know that it will come in time. Allowing yourself to become more relaxed, more balanced with every breath. You might feel different things at different spots as you move through. Maybe your solar plexus, where your adrenal glands are, needs a little extra work. Maybe your heart is out of balance, your heart energy. Sometimes if you get up into the clavicle area, you might feel some discomfort or energy flow as your throat area could be out of balance. Just bringing the attention to the breath. Allowing the flow. Okay. So why don't we just kind of finish up where you are. You can finish later on. You can practice this when you go to bed at night, when you're lying in bed before you go to sleep. Brings yourself into a nice balanced state for a beautiful, peaceful sleep. Or you could do this anytime during the day. Sitting watching TV, you could do it. And at the beginning, it helps to focus on the breath and all, but after a while, it will become a natural reaction in your body. So if you're watching TV or something, hopefully not the news though, right? If you're watching TV, you can do this and it will help bring you into balance. And so I'd like to just open it up for thoughts of anybody want to share. What did you feel? Did you feel hot? Did you feel cold? Did you feel anything? Question?
I felt cold.
Okay.
When I got here with my left hand, something happened, but I don't know what happened. It just was different right here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as different parts of your body are might be more out of balance, like if your throat is out of balance or your heart or your solar plexus, you'll feel different energies, and it definitely feels finer. You'll feel the finer energies as you move up the spine. Good.
Could it heal my thyroid being balanced?
Yes. It will bring your body into balance so that your body can heal itself. And so that's the idea. When we're in balance, our bodies, spirit made us beautiful, right? And our life experiences have moved us away from that beautiful balance. And so in doing this can bring us back into that balance so that your body can heal itself, just like when you were in the womb and the body made that perfect body. It, made that liver, it made that heart, it made all that. So yes, it can definitely bring your body back into balance, and your body can heal itself. Laurie, did you want to say something?
I was constantly getting a Creo response, if you know what I mean. It's like your body jerks,
Mm-hmm.
and all the way up on both sides. Whichever. I just kept getting those responses over and over and over again.
Yeah, so when that does come, flow with it. So you got to lift your shoulder up and roll your shoulder or twist, because that's your body, your spine wanting to straighten out. My spine, almost every time when I do it, I hear my back go as it cracks into balance as I'm moving up, almost like a chiropractic adjustment with it. So yeah, so good. That's good. You definitely had the flow going. That's great. Yeah, Claudia.
I was going to say that I'm short-waisted, and I think it would be a lot easier for me to do it laying down,
Mm-hmm.
because then I'm more stretched out and I can get the whole area, But I especially like visualizing the energy going around me like this.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, because your hands are like, your arms are going to be like a wire,
Mhm.
if you will, like if you have an out of balance condition, the wire will, allow the energy to flow into balance and have your aura, so if you wanted to feel your aura now, I can feel mine. Mine is like nice and straight. When I started, mine was going off to the right.
Mm.
See, now mine, I can feel it's balanced. So my energy field is like now like an egg over my body. Before it was going that way.
I wondered, I have some chakra stones. Would it be helpful to take the stone that goes with each chakra and hold it in the hand as you reach that part? Or is it better just to keep the energy flowing between the hands? Would the stone interfere?
I used to use a crystal sometimes, but just remember that's amplifying the power. So you want to just be very aware of it that you don't blow something out.
Oh,
Right? You know,
okay.
just
No,
be
I just-
aware.
Yeah,
Maybe at the beginning get used to it, and then if you want to bring them in, but I wouldn't be changing crystals out or stones out while you're doing it, because then that's taking away. You want to keep that connection as you move up. You don't want to be, coming over here and grabbing a different stone. You'd rather keep the continuity as you work up.
okay.
Yeah. Hey, Janice. Hi,
Yeah.
Jim.
So yeah, I changed my name. If you're doing it to yourself, the energy is flowing across. When you're doing it to other people, explain how the energy is flowing.
It would be the same way. So.
Through you or through the person?
So you're putting your hand on the person. Both hands aren't going to cross the other person's spine, right? So you'd be over the person. You could put your left hand at the three fingers below the spine on their right side, because you'll be on their right side, say, and then the hand that moves up crosses over the spine and moves up the spine that way, and you're still seeing the flow up your arm, over and down your other arm. So because you are the wire, you are the conduit that is bringing their body into balance now. In this case, their body's out of balance. And, I don't know if you heard, Janice, if they're laying down and you pull their legs a little bit and look at their feet, you'll find one foot is longer than the other. And when you're done, you'll look at their feet and their legs will be the same length. That answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Other feedback? Anybody else experience them? Mike?
Yeah, I was just going to say it's amazing for me how getting to certain spots, how the finger just seems to soak in. Like if you hit a spot on your chest and it feels hard when you first hit it, but then when you leave it there, as soon as the flow starts going, it sinks in. It's almost like I felt my finger going into my chest, which was really kind of neat. And I felt it it was very sensitive. I couldn't hold it too long around the heart. It just seemed like it was, I was having the same kind of thing, like, Kriya reactions to it, especially around the heart. But very interesting.
Yeah. And yeah, if you do get a reaction out of the body, move on. You can stay there for a moment and move on. We don't want to, this isn't an exercise in like blasting yourself, like I'm gonna energize and heal myself all in one session. You don't want to do that. You don't want to overdo it, because it can, I don't know, it can burn, if you will, or energetically. So you want to, when you feel that flow, just move to the next spot. That's all you need to do. You don't need to stay there. Sometimes I might, if I'm doing it on myself, like around my solar plexus, that's my area. I might like hold it there for a little bit longer, and then I'll like feel my body like twist and this, and then suddenly it'll go and it snaps. My back will snap into place, and then I'll move on. But just it's kind of a feeling thing. Feel and see how that goes. What did other people experience?
I did have my neck like clipped into place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Neat. And we don't even know we're out of balance, right? We just, because we've lived that way for so long, we don't know.
Well, I've always thought a couple of you have been out of balance.
Well, I have been accused of having a screw loose, but never out of balance.
Well, if it was loose, there'd be unbalanced. Yes.
True. What about others? Anybody else? Did you feel hot? Did you feel cold? It's interesting to share because then other people, because other people may have had the same experience.
I felt tingling in my hands. And when it would start to tingle and then I would move, and interestingly, it tingled in one hand more. And then when I changed side, it was the other hand more. and it was dependent on the way I could feel the energy moving through. So it was pretty unique.
Yeah, so you experienced it flowing both ways then, right? Flowing from left to right, and then at another point it was flowing from right to left. And it will do that as you move up to bring your energy field into a nice egg shape around you, and you can feel that. Yeah, that's good. That's great.
I just felt like a vibration, kind of I felt like I was kind of filling up a vase in a way. Like the energy was flowing upward where my hand was moving. I did not feel anything snap though or move.
Yeah, and that's okay. And I do yoga and stuff, so my body is used to snapping into place. So maybe it just happens more for me because when I do the yoga, it'll snap into place too.
Well, I felt some movement in my abdomen, but I had lentil soup for dinner, so I think that might add something into it.
Uh-oh, yeah, yeah, very neat.
I almost felt like a pressure on my lungs, and it was kind of like a pain. But then the more I kept it there, it got improved. So it's like, do I move on, so I kept it there, and it improved. So it was a kind of a wait and see what happens, and then move on.
Yeah, and that pressure could have been the block. If you have a block there, then that's like the energy trying to push through a block, and then once it freed, then you felt better. So that was, yeah, that's, and it's the thing, you kind of just have to feel your body and get used to how it feels to know your own self, because it's, like I said, it's different for everybody. Yeah, very good.
Nice.
And then one other thing you could do when you're done is you can take one hand and put it on that spot in the belly, and one hand and put it here, or one hand and put it on your chest, in your heart, or in your neck. And then, like as a closing, I will sometimes do that, and I'll see the flow, like flowing through both sides of my spine. The Pingala and something.
Ida.
Thank you. and so I will just see the flow, like of light flowing on either side of my spine in perfect flow, and that might clear up any other little debris that's in there that's plugged up. To kind of a nice finish to put your hand here and then your hand at the lower spot, and just see the flow flowing now from one hand to the other through those tubes on either side of your spine. And then you'll know that you're done. And this is great if someone is feeling sick, if they have a cold and they're just miserable or whatever. You can do it on someone else or on yourself, and it will relieve the misery of the cold. Maybe it won't heal the cold, but it will ease the symptoms a bit for the people. Because sometimes there's pain, and then we get involved in that pain and it turns into suffering, right? The difference, suffering is created by us. Pain is a natural phenomena that happens to all of us at some point. And so in doing this energy balancing, you can relieve that suffering, which is the accumulation of societal BS that has been piled up inside of us, as we call the pain body, the ego, whatever you want to call it. And so that will sometimes have a play in our feelings, rather than, you break your arm, it's going to hurt. But, then you can get involved in that story of all that sore arm, and it can become an identity almost for you. And you can, then it moves into suffering. Like my teacher once said, the difference between pain and suffering is, like, suffering is like when you go and you stand in the shower and you put your hand on the cold faucet, like you're going to turn the cold water on, and your body goes, ah, that's suffering. Because you're anticipating something, whereas just the cold water itself would be well, not really pain, but that would be a feeling. But when you anticipate the pain before it comes, that's when the suffering kicks in. So this will help you to move out of that suffering, and then to kind of bring everything back around to the beginning. When you're in a balanced state, the world is so much easier to see in a higher, at that higher level. It's all about perspective. When I took the hypnosis class, we learned that if you can change a person's perspective, you can heal, their body can heal instantly. I was healed of sleep apnea. Every night I would wake up gasping for air. 1 20-minute hypnosis session, it shifted my perception of that, and I haven't had it since, maybe once or twice in 5 or 6 years now. And when you look at like people with multiple personalities, they shift the personality and their eye color will change, or an addicted cigarette smoker will shift into another personality and they won't have any desire for a cigarette, or a brittle diabetic will not need insulin when they shift into another personality. People's shoe sizes will change. This is all documented, hard documented proof by, med doctors and such. So right there, it just says the personality controls the way we feel and everything. So when we can change the way we perceive the world, we can change our bodies. Deepak Chopra, what does he say? He says, if you want to look at the way you were thinking a few years ago, look at the way your body is now. And if you want to see how your body's going to be in a few years, look at how you're thinking now. So our thoughts and our processes of life have a major influence on our health, on how we live, how we heal, how we die. And so bringing ourselves into balance, through the diet, meditation, and exercise. But this is another tool in our tool bag that can help us come into that balanced place so that we can perceive the world from a different place, from a higher perspective. And then we can look at these situations that maybe an hour ago were driving us crazy. And then we do an energy balancing or the breathing or meditation, and we come back and look at ourselves and we laugh, and we're like, really? Was I really in that place an hour ago? That's crazy. And then we can address the world from that higher point of view. Any other thoughts, questions, comments? Did anybody not feel anything? Okay, good. So, did somebody want to say something? Okay, so the recording will be available on YouTube if you wanted to watch it again. If anybody wanted a copy of the presentation, if you wanted to look at it as a reminder, if you're working on it with others or working on it with your partner or something, you could just reach out to me at my email is stephenk1@att.net, or you could reach out to Brenda at info@thecopticcenter.org, and we could get you a copy of this if you wanted to work on it. And one other thing I did want to say, when you're working on another person, you can feel their aura. So you would come at them from the outside, bringing your hands out and bringing them in until you can feel, and then you can feel where the aura is before and after to measure the effects of the balancing. So if there's nothing else, then we'll wrap it up for today. Thank you. I hope everyone got some good information here, and I'd love to hear how it works for you in the future. Please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much.
Steve.
We're all balanced instead of lean.
Yeah. Well.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you, Steve, for your
you.
wisdom. We all feel a lot better because of your efforts and sharing your energies with us tonight. So thank you, and so good to see you all. Blessings, everyone, and have a nice balanced week ahead, shall we?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody. Love
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Bye.
Well, Steve, I do feel tingly all over. So it's made some change in my whole system already.
All right. Sounds good. Good. Yeah. Feel free to let me know how it goes.
Yeah.
Okay.
All righty. Thanks, everybody. Have a good evening.
Yeah, good night.
Thank you.
Good night. Bye.